I miss Carla. Welcome. Sometimes when I click the go live button on the screen, the little circle goes and it says going live, but nothing happens. So then I have to refresh the page and click it again, and then it usually works the second time. So if I'm ever a little bit late, that might be what's going on. I was just looking at my hair and I do like it, but I'm really looking forward to have a professional cut it because I did my best, and it was an interesting experience cutting my own hair, but it could definitely be better, huh? Sticks up a little funny. Oh well. I do like the blue, although it looks kind of green now as it fades. I have an even darker color blue that I might try in a little while. We'll see. It's kind of fun experimenting, and also there's not a whole lot else to do these days, so you got to entertain yourself. This is my mug I have today, drinking my coffee. Can you see? It's in kind of a cursive writing, but it says BookCon. And then down here it says 2018, really tiny. Con is usually short for convention. So this is a mug that I bought because I like to buy mugs. Mugs and t-shirts are my favorite souvenirs. And I got it at BookCon 2018, which was in New York City at the Javits Center. And I met a lot of authors and got a lot of books and got a lot of things signed. And it was a lot of fun. I was there with two of my friends, and we had a lovely time. So I always think of that when I drink from this mug. All right. We're going to continue with Caterpillar Summer by Gillian McDunn. And thank you to Bloomsbury for permission to read aloud this book. Let's look at the picture on the cover now that we've read a couple chapters. So there's Cat and Chicken. Oh, and Chicken is holding this shark toy. And the beautiful clouds and the birds that we see at the beginning of every chapter. And Cat is holding a fishing pole. Oh, and apparently it's windy because Cat's hair is blowing around. Isn't that a beautiful picture? On the back of the book is more of the ocean and the sun and the birds. Pretty. Although I don't know if it matters, but if you notice on the front, the sun is close to the horizon. Probably setting, but maybe it's rising. I don't know. Well, if they're going to Georgia, which is on the East Coast, looking out on the ocean, you'd be looking east. So I think it'd be rising. Maybe it's not the ocean, though. However, on the back, we still have the ocean here, but the sun is up higher. I just thought that was kind of interesting. They may have just done that so they could fit all these words in the middle. But it's a little bit different on the back than on the front. Anyway, I like to look at the pictures. I've always been one of those people who's not real great at interpreting pictures and noticing the details. I am more used to reading words and figuring out the stories based on how the words describe it. So looking at pictures, reading graphic novels and picture books are kind of hard for me, and I take practice and a lot of attention. So I like to look at the illustrations now and see what I can notice to kind of improve my skill and just get more out of the story. All right, chapter 3. Cat. Cat. The voice seemed to come from far away. Cat stirred but didn't open her eyes. Chicken was snoring, sounding like a miniature dump truck in her ear. She must have fallen asleep in his bunk last night. She shoved him lightly, hoping to stop his rumbling, then pulled the blanket over her head. A hand shook her. "Wake up! We overslept!" The words sunk in. Cat's eyes opened wide, and she jumped out of bed, crashing into Mom. "I didn't finish packing," Cat said. Chicken sat up, squinting. Mom was surprisingly calm. "I'll get Chicken ready, and you pack. Deal?" Cat nodded. Mom held a t-shirt and soft pants. "Come on, Chicken." He went with her, and a minute later was crashing around in the bathroom, getting ready. Cat crammed handfuls of clothes into the suitcase. They had 10 minutes until the airport shuttle van arrived. Mom called to Cat. Have you seen my sunglasses? Coffee table, Cat hollered. Mom's feet clacked down the hall, followed by a clunking and skittering sound. Oops, Mom muttered. She must have tripped over the Ticket to Ride game board. Cat pictured the tiny plastic trains catching air and scattering across the room. If Chicken realized their game was messed up, he'd be upset. She hoped he wouldn't notice. Cat tugged at the bag zipper, which seemed to be permanently stuck. But finally it gave way and closed completely. She ran down the hall and heaved it in the direction of the front door. Next up were backpacks, which she dumped out on the floor to make space. She left yesterday's papers in a pile, but saved a notebook, a zipper case of pencils, and Chicken's heavy shark encyclopedia. They could use all of it on the plane. Mom came out of her studio holding Chicken's tablet. Fully charged and ready to go. She placed it in the backpack, while Cat ran to change clothes. A thought itched in the back of her mind, but she couldn't think of what she was forgetting. She had her star earrings, curly hair shampoo, and her favorite hoodie. She tucked away a few lollipops into a pocket, just in case. Chicken peeked around the corner of the door. Have you seen my shoe? Cat looked down. He wore baggy socks and held his left shoe in one hand. Was it with that one? Chicken wiggled his toes. Nope. Cat sighed. Maybe you should take them off in the same place. He scrunched up his face. That would be boring. I like a little mystery. He turned and hopped down the hall. Cat shook her head. She could do with less mystery in her life, especially on a morning like this. Found it, Mom called from the living room. Cat grabbed 3 apples and 3 granola bars from the kitchen counter. Mom came through the back door, brushing her hands on her pants. Trash taken out, she said. We are ready to roll. The doorbell rang. Perfect timing. The driver took their bags and loaded them in the van. Chicken climbed in next to an older lady with a brightly colored scarf. You smell like flowers, he told her. She smiled thinly and looked at her phone. Chicken tried to fasten his seatbelt, but his backpack was in the way. Wait a minute, Cat said. Do you have your plastic shark? Chicken gulped. I forgot! Mom, Cat called. He doesn't have his shark. Mom ducked back inside. Cat looked sideways at the shuttle driver and scarf lady. Sorry, she explained. We forgot something important. The shuttle driver looked at his watch and grunted. Scarf lady didn't respond. Finally, Mom appeared holding the shark. Chicken clapped. Mom reached across Cat to hand the shark to Chicken, who kissed it with smacking sounds. Where was it? Asked Cat. Mom shook her head, but she was smiling. Way down under the covers, of course. Of course, Cat grinned back. They had done it. Packed and out the door in 10 minutes flat. When she and Mom worked as a team, they could do anything. Mom climbed into the front and chatted with the driver, who was friendlier now that they were on their way to the next stop. On the other side of Golden Gate Park, they pulled up to a pink apartment building in the inner sunset, with 2 men waiting on the curb, one with a blonde beard and one with brown skin and square glasses. While they climbed into the 3rd row, Cat unzipped her backpack and looked inside. She hoped they would have everything they needed. Chicken peeked over the seat at the 2 men behind him. Excuse me, do you like sharks? His volume was about 2 notches higher than it should have been. Cat turned halfway so she could see the other passengers' reactions. Some people didn't get Chicken, or were even annoyed by him, especially when he was being loud in a small space. Indoor voice, she said quietly, so only he could hear. Blonde Beard kept his eyes locked on his phone, but Square Glasses smiled. I love sharks, he said. Do you have a favorite? I have lots of favorites, said Chicken, leaning across the seat. I love the dwarf lantern shark for being tiny, the cookie cutter shark for being clever, and the whale shark for being biggest. I am going to the Georgia Aquarium tomorrow, and I am going to see many, many sharks. Cat kept an eye on the adults to see how they were reacting. Square Glasses seemed okay, and Blonde Beard was neutral, still focused on his phone. Scarf Lady probably wasn't a fan. She twisted her body away from Chicken, who wiggled next to her. She was practically touching the window with her forehead. Mom, who didn't worry about these things, was chatting with the driver, who, as it turned out, had grown up in Georgia. Cat patted Chicken's hand. He's excited about our trip, she explained to the van passengers. Sorry if he's bugging you. Square Glasses smiled at Cat. He's not bugging me. I really do like sharks. Do you want to see some? Chicken asked. Before Cat could stop him, he was unzipping his bag and lugging out his shark encyclopedia. The rest of the ride, Chicken showed his book to Square Glasses, who made admiring noises. Cat smiled to herself. Chicken had a way of picking the nicest people to talk to. When they got to the airport, Scarf Lady was the first to wheel away her luggage. Have fun with the sharks, Square Glasses said to Chicken before walking away with Blondebeard. When they checked their bags, Chicken asked how the suitcases knew which plane to get on. When they went through security, he asked about the X-ray machines. And when they were on their first flight to Chicago, he asked about everything, from how the plane worked to the clouds outside. Luckily, Mom had the middle seat and handled the questions, while Cat sank into a book. During their layover in Chicago, they got fast food. Cat gave Chicken the soft fries from her bag because he didn't like the crisp ones. He took a single bite of each and lined them up on the wrinkled burger wrapper. He picked the sesame seeds from his hamburger bun and ate them one by one. You should eat something besides fries and seeds, she told him. This food is too plain, he said. Mom dug in her bag. Wordlessly, she removed a doll-sized bottle of hot sauce and handed it to Chicken. He shook a puddle onto the tray and dipped his burger. Out on the runway, a plane pulled up to its gate. They were halfway to Atlanta, one plane away from Rishi. Mom messed with her phone. It looks like Manjula called a few times. Did she leave a voicemail? Asked Cat. She did, but I can't get a signal and I don't want to waste the charge I have left. Mom, did you forget to charge it? Asked Cat. Mom looked embarrassed. At least I remembered to charge Chicken's tablet. They looked at Chicken, who made blub, blub, blub sounds as he motored French fry boats through the hot sauce lake. Mom put the phone back in her bag. We'll see them in a few hours. Probably she's saying how excited she is to see you two. She patted Chicken on the head. He beamed at her. They boarded the second flight. Chicken took the window seat, and Cat was in the middle. As soon as they got in the air, Mom reclined her seat and closed her eyes. A million puffy clouds, sang Chicken. He glanced at Mom. Let's show her. Cat shook her head. Mom needed sleep. Maybe later. Shark show? All right, he said, taking the tablet from her. Cat had her book, but was too excited to read. Silent sharks flickered on Chicken's screen as the sky turned from pink to purple to black. When the plane started descending, Mom stirred in her seat. Cat nudged Chicken and handed him a blue raspberry lollipop. He accepted it and turned back to the window. Don't put your face on the glass, Cat said. Chicken shot a look over his shoulder. It's not glass, it's acrylic. You know what I mean, Cat said. He popped the lollipop into his mouth. Look at the lights. Mom squinted. Look at the traffic. Red brake lights and white headlights filled every inch of the road below. The plane lowered, but Cat's heart kept the clouds company. She was so close to seeing her friend. One of those cars has Rishi, said Chicken, and Manjula and Sandeep, right? Of course, said Cat. Rishi can't drive himself. Chicken twirled the lollipop in his mouth. I'm going to play sharks with Rishi. He's my best friend. Jealousy crackled inside her. Rishi was her friend. She didn't want Chicken claiming Rishi every day in endless shark games. But maybe that wasn't fair. Rishi was Cat's friend first, but Chicken wasn't wrong about Rishi being his friend too. He was friends with everyone. That was the whole point of Rishi. They'd be in Atlanta for 3 weeks. There would be plenty of time for Chicken to play with Rishi, and time for Cat and Rishi to hang out together too. Vacation meant there'd be enough time with everyone, even Mom. The plane lowered farther. Chicken's eyes widened, and he grabbed her arm. We're still going fast. We're still going so fast. The landing in Atlanta was rougher than it had been in Chicago. Cat's insides pulled forward and then settled as the plane slowed. Whew, said Chicken loudly, making the people around them laugh. People in the front rows filed off the plane. Chicken looked out his window, describing the trucks with blinking lights. Cat pulled Cat pulled her backpack from under the seat in front of her. Chicken, get your bag. In a minute, said Chicken. I'm watching for our suitcases. Cat leaned over and tugged at his backpack, which was tangled under the seat. He allowed her to put it on his shoulders, but didn't take his eyes off the window. Finally, it was their turn. Mom stood. Come on, Chicken. He didn't budge. Cat put her hand on his shoulder. He shrugged her off. I'm watching the guys. Cat took a deep breath. There's more guys inside, okay? Really cool ones. Chicken wasn't having it. I don't want to see inside guys. Cat looked down and talked close to his ear. Guess what I heard? The whole aisle is hot lava and you have to hop from one island to the next. Help me, Chicken. I don't want to fall in. He giggled and took big steps off the plane and down the jetway. Cat and Mom had to hurry to keep up, but his burst of energy ran out. As soon as they stepped into the terminal, he sank to the floor. People with bulky suitcases streamed around them. He looked up at Cat. No lava. Chicken, stand up, said Cat. He kicked off his shoes. No, sir, Mom said, bending to gather them. No, sir was one of those Southern expressions Mom used when Chicken stepped way out of line. Southern people got more polite when they were mad. It didn't make any sense. He sprawled on the floor. A man grunted as he sidestepped, almost bumping Chicken with a suitcase. A woman whispered about spoiled children. Cat's face warmed. Mom lifted Chicken to standing and half carried him from the walkway. You're going to get stepped on if you aren't careful. This was fair, but Chicken wasn't in the mood for fairness. His face crumpled in slow motion. He leaned back his head and screamed. The terminal echoed with it. Mom started doing deep breath exercises, moving her lips silently, probably counting to 50. Chicken walked in tight circles, flapping his hands. The more riled up he got, the harder it was for him to calm down. If they waited for Mom to get to 50, Chicken could be at 500. Cat searched his bag. Chicken, said Cat, when you're done, I'll show you something. On the outside, she pretended to be calm, even though her insides jangled. If she acted patient and steady, Chicken would come around. She pulled out the photo album, the one they called the Big Blue Book. Chicken loved their family pictures. Turning pages, she watched him from the corner of her eye. By the 4th page, he sat next to her. On the 6th page, he leaned his head against her shoulder. When she handed him the shark, he put it in his mouth. The pictures weren't in time order. A picture of Daddy and Mom in college was next to one of Cat and Chicken last year, holding plastic Halloween pumpkins. Cat liked the pictures mixed up because Daddy was right next to them, not frozen in the time 4 years ago. When she got to the end, she started over. They looked at pictures until Chicken's breath steadied. She made her voice sweet as blue raspberries. At the baggage claim, we'll look at the Big Blue Book some more. Good idea? Chicken nodded and held out his arms for Mom. She lifted him and gave Cat a grateful nod. Teamwork. Cat scooped up Chicken's backpack and Mom's bag. The load was heavy, but Cat was strong. When they reached the escalator, Mom leaned toward Cat. Glad you remembered to pack the book. Thank you. Mom hoisted Chicken higher. He wasn't easy to carry, even for someone as tall as Mom. His dangling feet hit Mom's legs as she walked. Cat tried to remember the feeling of being carried. She couldn't. When they reached the baggage claim, Cat scanned for Rishi, but he wasn't there. Mom saw her disappointment. Probably stuck in traffic. Cat dropped the bags into an empty seat and pulled out the Big Blue Book. Mom transferred Chicken to Cat's lap. All his tension had drained. He snuggled in her lap, rubbing the shark's fins with his little fingers. He tried to talk through the big yawn that quivered his body. More pictures. She opened the book again, but his eyes were already half closed. He let out a big sigh and fell asleep in her arms. Cat gently set the book on the seat beside them. She craned her neck to look around. Still no Rishi. Luggage tottered down the ramp and slid onto the carousel. Mom returned with their things. She dug in a suitcase pocket and pulled out a charger, then crossed to an area with outlets and plugged in the phone. Chicken startled in his sleep, arms flying, nearly punching Cat's face. "Shh," she murmured. It had been a long day. She felt tired down to her toes. But nothing could hold down her heart, which floated in zero gravity. She was going to see her friend, and it was going to be the best summer ever. Mom returned. "We've had a change in plans." Cat yawned. She moved her head so she could see. Still no Rishi. "Are they almost here?" Mom sat. "Manjula got some bad news late last night. Her mom had a stroke and is in the hospital." "Oh no!" Kat's eyes widened. Manjula must be sad and scared. Kat remembered the day they got the bad news about Daddy. Everything inside her pressed together and sadness rushed in. She shook her head to clear it. "So what does that mean?" Mom sighed. "It means Manjula, Sandeep, and Rishi are on their way to India." Kat finally understood. The Krishnamurthis weren't driving to meet them. They weren't even in the state. Instead, they were on their way across the world. "So our vacation is pushed back a couple days?" Kat said, trying to stay calm. "They'll be back before we know it." Mom looked at her patiently. "They haven't been to India in so long. Rishi has cousins he's never met. They'll be a few weeks, maybe a month." Kat's heart smashed down to earth so fast and hard she could picture the shape of the crater it left. "A month?" It came out louder than she had meant it. "What about us?" Mom frowned. "Kat, they need to be with their family." "We're family too," Kat said. Hot tears sprang up in her eyes. It was unfair. They were stuck thousands of miles from home for nothing. "Kat," Mom's eyes were pleading. Kat wiped her eyes on her sleeve. "Is this what the voicemails were about? You should have charged your phone." Mom drew back, and Kat knew she had hurt her. But Mom should be more like other grown-ups. If they had found out before leaving San Francisco, they wouldn't be in this mess. Chicken, in his sleep, whispered, "Plankton." Mom pressed her fingertips against her eyelids. "We'll have to find a babysitter." Did Mom think they could find a babysitter in 2 days? Even if they had noticed, most regular babysitters couldn't handle Chicken. Kat would rather handle him herself. "No way," she said. Mom looked at her. Kat didn't have to say why it would never work, because Mom knew. "I'm brainstorming. We're stuck, and I don't know what to do." Mom bit her lip. "How about a sleepaway camp? That would be fun." Sometimes Mom was unrealistic. Chicken couldn't handle the aftercare program at school, and somehow she thought he could manage 3 weeks of summer camp. "I'll watch him at the Krishnamurthy's house," Kat said flatly. Mom paused like she was thinking it over. Then she shook her head. "You do a good job watching him after school, but I'll be working all day and some nights. I can't leave you in a place you don't know." "Can you cancel the class? Let's go home." If she were going to have the same old summer, at least she could have it in their own apartment. She could even let herself imagine a trip to Toy Boat with Papi Jang. Mom twisted the charging cord around her fingers. "I wish I could, but I can't cancel the class. Some things are set in stone." Her frown deepened. Chicken sighed in his sleep. "I don't want a camp or a babysitter," Kat warned. Mom took a deep breath, like she had decided something. "I have an idea. Wait here." She stood and walked to the corner with the plugs and faced the windows. Kat bit the insides of her cheeks. Sometimes she wished she could be like Chicken. He wasn't bothered by what others thought. She wanted to scream and cry, too. Mom was back, fiddling with the phone like she was nervous. "New plan. You'll stay with your grandparents." Kat's grandparents lived in St. Louis. She wouldn't mind visiting them. Maybe they could go to a Cardinals game. But St. Louis wasn't exactly next door to Atlanta. We're going to see Granny and Pop? Cat asked. Not Daddy's parents, Mom said grimly. Mine, in North Carolina. Mom's parents? Mom's parents? In North Carolina? Cat frowned. She didn't know Mom's parents. She had never even met them. Cat had quit asking because Mom met every question with a tight-lipped smile and vague answers. But now she and her brother were going to spend 3 weeks with them. Cat didn't know what Mom was thinking. Mom nudged Chicken out of sleep. His eyes opened halfway and he smiled a loopy grin, reaching up to her. Mom lifted him to her shoulder and grabbed a wheeled suitcase. But Mom, Cat started. Mom didn't listen. She nodded toward an exit. We'll get a car out there. Cat hurried to keep up, lugging the bags with her. The feeling of being a team with Mom was gone. Mom was in charge and she was stuck on her plan. Cat wondered again, what happened to make Mom stop talking to her parents? It must have been terrible. But then again, Mom was willing to drop Cat and Chicken with them. Would she do that if she really thought her parents were so bad? Cat wondered if they had southern accents, like the one that popped out when Mom got mad. They must know about Cat and her brother. But how much did they know about Chicken? Did they know about the meltdowns? Fully awake, Chicken peered over Mom's shoulder, eyes round and serious. He didn't know what was ahead, and neither did Cat. But she would keep him safe, no matter what happened. That's what sisters were for. Gosh, the next chapter is pretty long, so I think we're going to stop there. Just one chapter for today. Tomorrow we will start with chapter 4, which is on page 42. Okay? Oh, this is interesting. I didn't know there was going to be a diversion. I thought they were going to be in Georgia. Did you know that I moved to Rhode Island from South Carolina? I lived there for 10 years. Before that, I lived in Michigan, where I grew up. But I lived in South Carolina for 10 years, and I had a little bit of a southern accent when I moved up here to Rhode Island. And I said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and things like that. Sometimes it slips out. Sometimes I still say y'all. But I'm very interested to read this story taking place in North Carolina. All right. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow.